สวัสดีครับผมนายคุณานนท์เลี่ยมสกุลครับจากมหาวิทยาลัยเทคโนโลยีพระจอมเกล้านครเหนือคณะนานาชาติบริหารธุรกิจระหว่างประเทศและโลจิสติกส์ครับวันนี้จะมาพูด Tech Talk Speech เกี่ยวกับเรื่องของ regret and how to feel safe in changes เป็นภาษาอังกฤษนะครับขอบคุณครับ Have you ever asked yourself this question Should I have done something different about something in my life Maybe it's something as serious as a career choice, an academic path, or maybe something as more simpler in your life. Maybe what you did in the morning, or what meal plan that you had. All of these questions, I am certain that many of you have asked yourself listening to this. I am one of them as well. I have asked myself many times of this question.Should I have done something different? And one of the stories I want to bring here in our talk today is one of those cases. First off, I want to preface that I started having a hobby of the arts, being mainly drawing when I was quite young. It was something that I pursued during my childhood with full determination.Practicing my drawings from hours of drawings turns into days of practice. Eventually, months and then years. I kept on building up my skills. And then eventually comes to the point where I started researching about art institutes and universities to pursue into chasing the dream of becoming a concept artist from my favorite video game companies at the time, or becoming a comic book artist for many publishers that I enjoyed reading when I was a kid. Even something as simple as becoming a freelance commission artist was also in my horizon that I thought of as a kid. Though the dream didn't last long. Eventually, as the weight of reality sets in to my naive brain at the time, which still stays at the back of my mind. Should I have done something different? And something along the lines of, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I continuing my pursuit of the art? Why did I stop going for it?Why didn't I become those careers in my dreams? And to answer those questions, I started to lose interest in the hobby. It eventually became hollow. So from my personal practice, eventually becomes studying in art prep school. I started realizing that this may not be the right path. At the time, I have fully embraced that, all right, this is not the path for me. Let's try something else. But now that I have tried something else, the questions bounce back from the back of my mind. Why didn't you go all the way through with it? Which brings me to my next point. Why do we feel regret of things, such as that I mentioned?Regret, if followed by the dictionary definition, is the feeling of sadness and disappointment, mainly from losing out on an opportunity or something important, something that we place values in. An additional article by Psychology Today is that there has been a study, a link between the feeling of regret and the concept of selves. So, what is the concept of selves? The concept of selves is basically an idea of what makes you. Your dreams, your ideals, your values, your admiration, aspirations, all of those combine to become your self-concept. The research published by Psychology Today have shown a link between the feeling of regret and the negative emotion that followed by that feeling and the damages it done to the concept of selves. Because it comes along the lines of we are not living to what we expect of ourselves and therefore damages ourselves. The regret that we may feel with the changes in our lives, our decisions, though we may not feel the effects of it. The article also suggests that sometimes we push these feelings away in the back of our mind to bring forth a more necessary need first and think of it as a resolved situation, even though it is not. So, aside from the feelings of regret comes change. Changes are scary, and we cannot find safety in it in some case. So, how to feel safe when there's changes going on in our lives? According to another article done by Henry Ford Health, stress is part of the equation. When we experience change that may be expected or unexpected, it can bring forth stress, which means that how do we cope with this? Because stress can cause us to make irrational decisions and may bring a more severe issues to our mental health. There are really no set steps to how to deal with change and bring forth safety in it. But there are suggestions to at least mend it or be prepared for change. First thought being, if the change is expected to come, plan ahead. Think about what would affect you and how you can prepare for it, both mentally and also physically in some cases. Next being, reframe your thinking. Do not overthink, because overthinking can cause stress, as mentioned. Even going back to your usual routine to bring back a sense of normalcy can reduce the feeling of being overwhelmed or feeling of being new, and overall bring a sense of familiarity to your daily life. Another being, relax. Sometimes even simpler said than done, but having a calmer mindset means that you can take your options in the changes and how do you deal with it more rationally. Changes are not easy, which means this one final step is quite crucial: to discuss, seek advice with others. Even talking about your issues on the surface level can feel like lifting a mountain out of your shoulders, out of your chest even. This actually happened to me. From a continuation that I mentioned about my story, I started falling into a deep sense of stress and being overwhelmed, because at the time I don't know what am I supposed to do. I was so overwhelmed, I was stressed that there was times where I would get into arguments with my parents about my future. I would even toss away my art supplies when I was practicing at my home. I was very much unsure. I was scared. Not just scared of the choices that I made during that time, but what comes ahead. Is this the academic path that I want? Is this the career path that I want? Is this the life I want? Even if it's not the life I want, would it be a life that I would find satisfied or feel complete? Though eventually, and it's not a quick process, I talked, seeked advice with my parents and even other older figures in the industry that I was pursuing. Even some of my mother's friends who already have career path in those fields. And I eventually come to a conclusion that even though it's going to be overwhelming, it's going to be scary, terrifying even, that it will be all right. And even though the question still lingers in the back of my mind, I can fully say that I am content with where it is heading. Finally, something that I want to leave everyone by. Even now, if my questions are not fully answered, and maybe it will never be, I want everyone to remember that we are all living in our stories. Change will take time. Life will always have change and never be predictable. But I want everyone to remember to relax. Look at what you have and look at what you will do. Look at your next steps. Because in every part of our story, I want everyone to be sure that they are making the right hero's journey. Thank you.